No gaseous emissions from Lewis this week. That's surprising. Oh, spoke too soon, of course. Lewis, that is a beautiful mug. Is that your wife's mug?
It's everyone's mug, man.
What's going on with that? Mug. That looks like a mug that your wife would have.
It should be my woman's a woman's mug. That's for sure.
All right, let's see if we're live. And we're live. Oh, full screen me. Apologies. Or
whoa,
maybe,
yes,
maybe
please.
not. Let's see if this helps the viewership. Oh, they're all leaving. Okay, quick. Welcome, everyone. I know we're doing an unexpected Wednesday show here, but c'est la vie. Does that work in this scenario? C'est la vie. Shout out to Betty. Shout out to iCave Dave. Yeah, we got to do this live. We couldn't wait. Lewis demanded that we go live today. He's like, the people need a show. We can't wait. We can't wait any longer. I can't wait any longer. That's what he said to me.
It already seems so old. WWDC.
Well, that's true.
Days ago.
So I'll just go ahead and...
That one day was like 2 or 3 days, so...
All the other cool podcasts are going on the wrong days of the week, so, we're just following the trend.
And you know what? There's no way we could have covered anything on day one. There's just so much to cover that I feel like it's good just to kind of give it a couple days so that we know what we can actually even talk about. Oh, let's go ahead and tweet the tweet. So the tweet has been tweeted.
It's a good idea.
Ready? That's the Jerry Seinfeld version. There you go, Lewis. Prepare for the greatest retweet of your life right there. Everyone says it's the best tweet.
What's the deal?
What's the deal with the tweet? Okay, everyone. We are going to go live early here. We got a lot to talk about. And I think we witnessed one of the greatest WWDCs of our lifetime. I'm not even joking. I was just exhilarated from start to finish. Someone, Kid Kosan, hey, what's the website you guys use to rank your favorite shows? Oh, that is Flickchart. Flickchart. We should make that link available so that people can see our ranking. Although the ranking that it currently has for us is wholly embarrassing. There's no movies on there that I think any of us would actually place into our top 10. But we got to go ahead and keep that segment going. Oh, dude, Steve, I know what you're saying. You're welcome, Kid Kosan. Okay, we're going to go ahead and queue up Mrs. D and get this thing rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Mrs. D. She's clearly excited. Clearly excited about WWDC this year. Oh, yes, I was, my dear, and that lovely helmet. Oh, yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sometimes I make El Kini wear a helmet and nothing else. Ugh. That is an odd... That's an odd bend, don't you think, Liz? Nothing but a helmet? His bicycle helmet, probably. I don't want to know the answer to that question.
Yeah, it would have to be the bicycle helmet. I would think that if he's going to have to wear the bicycle helmet, he'd also have to wear the crazy bicycle shoes that make you clip-clop around the room.
Oh, yes, my dear, both. Oh, gross. Okay, Mrs. D, no one wants to hear about any of that. We want to just get this show rolling. We got to be rolling out of here in 35 minutes. No, wait. I take that back. 85 minutes. I'm going to be walking these sweet buns right out the door. And we got so much, including our, oh man, I'm excited to see who won this one. Our last episode predictions on what would happen. I'm going to be honest. I think I won, Lewis. I think I won. But I don't know. I can't remember. I didn't go look. I almost cheated, Griffin. But I didn't. I didn't look. I promise.
Have the right results been certified by PricewaterhouseCoopers? Or,
yeah, they've been
some other
notarized.
Third party. Because right now we're just
my
taking
rulings might
Griffin's
be contested a little bit, but
all right, let's get this thing rolling. In 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the CultCast.
Try it again.
I'm gonna do that one. Hello and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30+ minute Apple conversation you're gonna hear all week long. I'm your host. Irfan Lash joined me today. He's been threatening and disciplining CultMac writers since Monday and the keynote to ensure they're properly motivated to keep the articles coming. He's the managing editor of CultMac. Lewis Wallace is here.
sure he's going to help me with this in the future. AI-powered taunts.
That seems like it might be in your future. Also with us, he can't admit this due to the NDAs they made him sign, but I can tell you they used a scan of his head and scalp to craft the Craig Federighi skydiving helmet seen at the start of this week's keynote. He's a writer at Cult of Mac. Griffin Jones is here.
Maybe I'll be able to divulge on those details when my NDA expires in 2049.
when Craig is dead, which he looks great, man. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. I think Craig needs to be the next CEO. I'm going to just go ahead and speak that into being. I think it needs to be him, man. He has just got the charisma and the aptitude to do it. That was one of the best, if not, I was just saying this to Lewis before we started. That was probably one of the best keynotes I've seen, and probably the best keynote opener that we've seen from Apple ever. It was funny and entertaining and great until they got to Tim Cook, and he's like, wow, that was really fun.
I had the exact same thing. That was so cool.
And then it dropped completely flat. They had built it up to such a degree that I was having a great time. And the whole concept was hilarious. And them with the Craig Federighi helmet was such a delicious cookie. And then you get to TC, and his comment was completely flat.
He should have just said good morning and just not acknowledged it, because
exactly.
CEOs don't have human emotions and they can't act.
That's exactly it, man.
Well, I mean, some CEOs do.
He's just not good at projecting. And as amazing as Tim Cook is, Craig Federighi's got the magic. And dude, that hair, I got to pull this up. This may seem like a tangent. I actually don't think that it is. Dude, okay, well, here's the helmet. I should have had this.
He's got leadership hair.
He's got supermodel hair. That guy's hair is unbelievable. I mean, like, look, I know this is a tangent. I apologize. Most men lose hair as they get older. So, like, even if they don't go bald, like, they lose hair as they get older. Craig Federighi's hair is so thick and rich. It is an unbelievable pelt. It looks like a bearskin rug. I mean, you even commented on it, Lewis. It looks even richer than it ever has. I mean, it's so incredibly thick and rich. There are very few older men who have a head of hair like that. I mean, this has surpassed Kevin Bacon. I can't think of another actor in Hollywood that has better hair than this guy. It is off the charts good. He is incredibly fortunate to have that hair. He's got the personality. He's got the aptitude. He's got the hair, man. All you need is the hair, to be honest. All the other things are superficial. If you have the hair, there's a reason that we haven't had a bald president since the inception of television. People love the hair, man. It makes them feel good. They like to look at you, and it makes everything that you say that much more important when people like the way you look. I mean, this
Craig
guy
is just aging like a fine wine. If you go back to his first keynote appearance in 2011, he's only like that was a long time ago. 13 years can do a lot to a person, but Craig has only gotten better and better over time.
Dude, he looks incredible, and just like his level of playfulness in the whole thing. I realize this is so in the weeds that I can't even believe that we're even talking about this. I feel like a sportscaster, except we're talking about an Apple keynote. How did I end up in this place in my life? But you know what? We're here among our people, and I know that you all actually might agree with the commentary going on here. Anyway, I just to get us kicked off here, I was so impressed. Apple had an immense challenge on their hands to come in late like this and work AI in a way that's practical and useful and easy to use. It was a huge challenge coming in from behind. And dude, they nailed it. Like beat for beat. I was blown away at the features that they showcased, and they did it in such a condensed period of time to come in from behind like this with all this functionality. And I think that their success was certainly reflected in the stock market. Their stock price for the first time ever surged past $200 a share yesterday. And now it's sitting at $215. So I think in like the last week, it's up 10%. After years of going sideways, this was the thing that made Wall Street go, yeah, they've got something special here. And the investments came pouring in. And dude, I'll just tell you, I did a little stock price check last night. Baby.
Just this
have,
morning, they passed
Yeah.
NVIDIA and Microsoft.
Did they really? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you're right. They're sitting at almost 3.3 trillion market cap now. And Microsoft's been sitting ahead for a while, man. They really positioned themselves so well. I'll just do this right up at the top because I was going to mention it for those of you that that care. Not to brag, but this was something that we've talked about in past shows. So years ago, I don't even know when this was, Lewis. Were you around when I started this whole stock price challenge?
I don't know if I was
Okay.
on the podcast necessarily right when it started, but maybe.
I think it was.
I actually think I was because I was
you
so
were.
annoyed that you started with 95,000 instead of 100,000. I just wanted you to do a nice round number. Sell a little blood, pick it up to the right number.
So I'm still not sure exactly how much I spent. I think I spent $96,000 in Apple stock, and it was just under 100,000, and I converted a bunch of stock into Apple stock just to see what would happen. And I've done updates over the years. Well, I checked it last night, and I am sitting at just under $200,000 now in Apple stock. I made like $15,000 yesterday.
That's 401. Okay.
And funny enough, I'll tell you, part of this money was money that I put into a brokerage account years ago, like probably right before I started the Apple Stock Challenge. And I dumped in like $15K because we wanted to buy a car. And I was like, we're not going to buy it right away, so I'm going to just put it in here. And I ended up buying Apple stock with that money. So about $15,000. I checked it yesterday. I completely forgot about this account. I completely forgot about it. I checked it yesterday. Guess how much it's worth? Just take a guess.
This was Apple stock only, or
It's
this was
100% Apple stock. Yep.
And you put in 15.
Yep.
I don't know.
So I'm going to guess 30.
It's a good guess.
Sounds like it would if. Well, yeah. I mean, what? You're saying the other one went up 100%, so why would it not be about the same?
Yeah. Well, I bought it before I made.
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah. I don't know how long ago it was, but it was before my other Apple stock purchase. It's worth $40,000 now. I just checked this account and I was like, there's $40,000 sitting in here. I haven't even looked at this account in probably 2 years because it's in a brokerage account that I don't ever use. It's not part of my retirement, like 401k stuff. And so.
And gee, the price of cars has only gone up what percent?
Well,
you
right.
better go get a car right now.
Dude, I know. No kidding. It still buys the same level of car as $15,000 did in 2020.
Hey, it's better than not having the.
Well, that's what's really funny. God, we're so far off kilter here. I'll stop. We need to move on. I do want to do a quick super chat. Hugo Last, who normally joins us on on a Thursday, with a $35 super chat. You guys trying to trick me by going live on a Wednesday? Now he spelled by B-U-Y, which I think he did on purpose because he's trying to buy our favor. Oh, we're gonna have Hugo on. We're gonna do something with him. Maybe once the stock goes nuclear, I can bring you on as my butler, Hugo. I don't know what you do professionally, but I presume you're probably a pretty good driver. I'll pay you well. We'll talk about it. Man.
Accepting applications.
Yeah, Lewis, when you're ready to retire, maybe you could come be my driver. Think how much fun that'd be.
Sounds awesome.
All right.
Can't wait.
We're way off kilter here. Before we keep going, I do want to thank our sponsor for this episode. How prescient is this? How prescient is this? Notion is a place where any team can write, plan, organize, and rediscover the joy of play. Notion discovers, I can't even read today. Notion combines your notes and docs into one place that's simple and beautifully designed with the power of AI built right inside, not a separate AI tool or browser tab. But you're like, wait a second, but Apple is now integrating notes or integrating AI into their app. Dude, if you want to use tomorrow's features today, you still need to consider Notion. Even with the stuff that Apple announced, Notion goes way beyond what Apple is doing. Apple's offering like a base level of features, but Notion beats it and does stuff that the Notes app could never hope to do, like project management, like being able to build a wiki that your team can query to get answers from, and so much more. And there's a reason that so many people are switching to Notion to manage their projects, to keep track of their lives, to manage their businesses, to work on projects together. It just does so much stuff that it is definitely worth considering if you're someone who's into productivity and feels like your current productivity apps are not serving you and you also want the power of AI to serve you. Head on over to notion.com/cultcast. Try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/cultcast. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/cultcast, and start turning your ideas into action. And when you use our link, you're supporting our show, notion.com/cultcast, notion.com/cultcast. Okay, let's dive right in with the big story. It's me, right? Yeah, It is me. Just making sure. I need some AI on my side helping me. Maybe I should get my Neuralink connected to AI. That might help. AI-powered Siri is the new face of Apple Intelligence. When I was watching this keynote, I was like, you son of a... They're going to change the name of Siri, and I'm going to have not voted for my own prediction, but they didn't do it. They kept it as Siri. Lewis, I think...
They did completely change the branding. Like, it looks completely different. It has a new logo, but the name is the same.
I actually love the new branding, and if this delivers the way I think it's going to, I think this is the Siri that we always wanted. I really actually have high hopes, like for it being able to understand you, to understand the context that you're speaking of, for it to be able to understand the words that you're trying to use and perform actions for you. Of course, I tweeted, if it only did one thing, I would be happy. Just understand what I'm trying to say to you in dictation. I honestly think that would actually be enough for me. But dude, I was sitting there just kind of shaking my head thinking like, this is it. This paired with the power of ChatGPT and OpenAI is the Siri that we have always wanted. What were your thoughts? I see you kind of like nodding over there. Lewis, your impression of...
the demo looked awesome.
Yeah.
It worked great in previous WWDC keynotes as well, when they promised great Siri, how much better Siri was going to be, right? So we'll see. I mean, I have high hopes. They've pinned a lot of their future on all this stuff, right? So it better work as planned.
Yeah, we don't know how it's going to work until we actually get our hands on it. That much is true. But the reason it gives me so much hope is because I believe in OpenAI. Everyone's using them. And I have a lot of experience with their technology. Maybe not a lot, but I have experience with their technology. And it's so highly functional. Like, it just predictably delivers the kinds of results that you would expect. And that was Siri's big problem. I'm going to go ahead and go to the story here and just read some of this to make sure I don't miss anything. In the keynote, they said, thanks to the capabilities of Apple Intelligence, aka ChatGPT, this year marks the start...
Wait, to be clear.
Yeah.
Apple Intelligence isn't solely powered by ChatGPT. It's using Apple's own foundation models.
Okay, that's fair. But I do think that there is a lot of ChatGPT magic that is going into this. Do you think it's purely...
The only integration with ChatGPT and OpenAI is like... was at the very end of the keynote when, like, if you ask a question that Siri can't answer, it'll ask you if you want to ask ChatGPT as well, in the same way that, like, Siri will throw out to Wolfram Alpha if you ask it a math question. All of the Siri stuff is entirely powered by Apple's own foundation model and their own in-house LLMs.
Okay, now that is something I did not understand. That is interesting. So the ChatGPT is only being activated when you ask it a question that's probably not being done on device.
And when you specifically give it, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but it pops up a thing that says, it seems like ChatGPT could help you with this question. Would you like to ask ChatGPT? There's a pop-up, like a guardrail. Like you have to say, yes, ask ChatGPT.
Well, I just went full Michael Jackson there.
I thought was a great way of incorporating not software, but AI that everybody is, I don't know, not about everybody, but a lot of people have concerns about, right? So I thought it was brilliant. I mean, the way that they handled that. So I didn't mean to derail the...
I think this is a lot better this way. Like, my concern going into this, we just can't stick to the story this week. We all have so many opinions. But my concern going into this was that there were rumors that Apple had developed an internal LLM for Apple employees to use, but they weren't going to release to the public, and that the rumor was that the new Siri would be like almost entirely built on top of ChatGPT, and that's what I was scared of, because like, Apple philosophically, it's like the Tim Cook doctrine. Apple needs to own and control all of the foundational technologies in their products. And like the fact that they were able to pull this off and roll out their own foundation model. Like I watched the developer State of the Union that goes into a little more technical depth on how this all works, and it's really impressive. Like they have this what they call the foundation AI model, that's like one singular model that they can keep like persistently loaded into storage, and then they have like these different plugins that they can throw on top of it to turn the foundation model into an LLM, or the photo image transforming thing, or the generative AI stuff. So they don't have to, you know, uh, and so it has a much lesser impact on the battery and like the memory and all that. Anyways, you can go back to
Well, now I'm a
the
little
news
more
here.
now I'm a little more dubious.
Oh, I think it's great because like it means they can run it in. Another benefit is that they can run it entirely on device,
Right.
and that's part of the reason why it's only exclusive, why it only runs on the very latest hardware and only
What a
higher
coincidence.
configurations of their very latest hardware. Like they currently sell on like their most recent phone, the iPhone 15, can't run it at all. It's only the iPhone 15 Pro, because that's how powerful like these AI features are
Interesting.
in order to make it run on device.
Well, I do
I
like
saw,
that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lewis.
no, I should say I saw like Ming Chi Kuo and some other people were talking about like, oh, it requires this amount of DRAM. I think it said. Is that right? Is that the right term?
I'm not sure. I didn't.
Anyway,
Unified memory.
it requires a certain amount of RAM to be able to work, and that's why it has to be these higher end devices, because Apple always skimps on RAM, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they got into this, but how? And here we go again. But how different is this new thing from the thing that is currently the Apple, AI running Siri? How did you get a feel for that? I mean, did they address that? Like, oh,
It's a
this is actually 8 times better.
it's a completely different technology, because Siri as it exists today, there's the part that converts your what you say into words. Then, so you have like the string of input, like your question, that is interpreted by current Siri programmatically, not using a neural network. And that means that uh, it has to it has like a fixed set of rules that it uses to like break apart the grammar and the syntax of your sentence, and then it plugs that in, and it goes down like a manual checklist of well, here are the possible things you could be asking for, and these are the limited set of functions that I can do on this information. Like every new request to Siri, like everything that Apple wants Siri to do, has to be manually programmed in place, both by Apple in order to parse the sentence and by developers in order to make it do anything. That's why Siri is so terrible, because like everything that Siri does has to be done in advance, and like there has to be like a designated path laid out for it to do. What's great about this Siri is that it has an LLM that can interpret the context of what you're asking as a human, and it's built on a powerful new intense framework. Like it's basically exactly what I've been asking for on this show. Like uh,
We're
there's a
working
new
on that, by the
API
way.
that
We're gonna build in
developers
the
can.
intense engine and stuff. Don't worry. We're gonna get to that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like developers can like describe all of the features in their app. They can describe like this button does this, this feature does this, and then Siri can use the power of an LLM to intelligently map your question to actions it can take inside the app and do it for you.
Yeah, and just for those of you that may not be familiar with the jargon, like when we talk about intense, I know that sounds like it's like, wow, that's intense. It's what are you trying to accomplish, right? What are you trying to do? And LLMs are pretty good at figuring out what your intent is, like what action are you trying to take, and then going and doing those things for you. And it eliminates all the programming that has to happen to identify like a clear path and like the steps that need to happen when you're trying to take an action. And it goes and figures that stuff out on its own. And so it can be a lot more scalable and require less developer intervention to make changes. And as a certain set of conditions change, it can react dynamically and change its behavior so that you're still getting the same outcome that you want without.
This is basically
Yeah.
the large action model that the Rabbit R1, that you remember that little device? They bragged about having a large action model, and it turned out to be a complete lie. Or
What a shocker.
the Humane AI pen, they tried to do the same thing, but it has to learn about you over time. The advantage is that, first of all, Apple actually has the software foundation to make a large action model that actually works, because developers have been baking in intense frameworks into their apps like over the last 10 years. And your phone already knows everything about you. So like they already have the pool of information to draw from. Like the other important element of what makes this work comes from Spotlight, which is, the intelligent on-device search thing. If an app adds the data inside the app to what's called the Spotlight index, like, the Gmail app, for example, you have all of your emails on your phone. Gmail can say to the system, this is the content of all of the email on this phone, so that when somebody searches, Delta flight from the home screen of their iPhone, it can bring up the Delta flight out of the email in the Gmail app. That's another key part of this. So, and that's what powers some of the new Siri superpowers, because you can ask, for example, this is the example they gave in their keynote, play that podcast Jamie recommended. So it can go into messages, it can go into the Podcasts app. If Marco Arment implements this, it'll be able to go into the Overcast app and, piece together all of these different clues from all of these different areas of your phone and, turn it into an action that it can take so that it opens the Podcast app and starts playing it.
Yeah, being able to do stuff across different apps and, well, just to first of all understand what your intents are and what you're trying to accomplish, and being able to do things across apps and being able to understand context, like send me that podcast that my wife sent me from a week ago, or whatever, and like the fact that it could even have a hope of doing that. We could go on and on and on about Apple Intelligence. There's so many features that they outlined. I mean, there's the writing tools that help you be a better writer. There's the priority notifications, and also in Mail, where it's showing you the stuff that it thinks that you might want to see. The summary of long emails, which I hope that I'll be able to do with my dad's text messages. There was just so much stuff that it did, and I just kept thinking to myself, wow, this is definitely the Siri. Presuming that it works, now that I know that it's not powered by OpenAI, which I thought that it was, thank you, Griffin. Presuming that it works and Apple actually got their LLMs fine-tuned, this could be the Siri that we always hoped for. And imagine being able to say, Lewis has a flight and can't join the show today. And instead of has being capital HASS, it's HAS, Lewis.
Wow, wouldn't that be a breakthrough?
That's the future I want to live in. And then there's like the smart replies that they talked about. Being able to like be presented with a menu of replies to questions within an email that you can like click on buttons to answer. Like there's just all sorts of crazy, wacky stuff that I'm excited to play around with. I don't know. I was completely impressed. What was your takeaway, Griffin? I know you kind of got in the details, but like high level, what were you thinking when they were showcasing this stuff?
So over the weekend before the keynote, I put out a video that's like my wish list for WWDC, and virtually none of the actual features I asked for they implemented, presumably because they pulled in every engineer in order to make this work for Monday. But part of the AI stuff that I wanted to see, I wanted to know a few things in advance. Like Apple really has a chance to differentiate themselves from the worst players in the market by clearly telegraphing what the training data for these features is, what the energy impact on the world is going to be, because again, these are traditionally, with some of the competitors, very energy intense processes that they're trying to do, what the energy impact will be, whether I can trust the data, whether it'll be private. And Apple being Apple, they did very clearly telegraph the privacy angle, and they went into a lot of depth on the Developer State of the Union about how they engineered the private cloud compute to actually be private and secure, and basically as close to open source as they can do. It's very impressive. I encourage you to read my summary article on it if you're curious. I won't get into the technical details here, but they're very clear on the privacy angle. In follow-up interviews, I'm surprised they didn't mention this during the keynote, because in follow-up interviews, they were very clear. like with the talk show live just last night, they said, oh no, like part of the reason private cloud compute runs on Apple Silicon is because Apple Silicon is incredibly energy efficient. Like we've been making energy efficient chips that run on device for, 15 years now. And so we're using the same energy efficient chips inside our server farms too. And all those server farms are 100% carbon neutral because they're all powered by solar, wind energy. It's not like they're buying carbon offset credits after the fact, which are usually kind of a scam. Like all of their server farms are like completely off the grid. That's another good point. Where it gets a little sticky and where I'm kind of disappointed is when they talk about training data. Because especially for the image generation stuff, they said, like a few people have asked, how are you training all of these images for all these, art tools that you're giving people? And they didn't have a very good answer. They said, yeah, we're just scraping stuff online, basically, which I'm kind of disappointed by. Like even Adobe is like explicitly clarifying that they're licensing all the images that go into power Adobe Firefly. But we're 2 for 3.
Yeah, that's pretty good in my opinion.
On ethics.
And I do love, we got to move on from this, but I really loved how they explained to be a motion graphics artist working for Apple. He's like, hey, yo, we need a graphic that explains privacy in the cloud. And they delivered one that worked so beautifully. But Apple's transparency and showcase on like how they're going to integrate privacy into all this, I found to be actually quite convincing, because no one's really talking about any of this stuff. I know that Apple actually does care about privacy, and I trust them with my data to not abuse it and misuse it. They're probably the only company that I actually trust with it. There are probably other ones out there, but certainly from like a large corporate perspective, like I actually believe that they'll treat my data correctly and not abuse it. So it makes me want to use these features more. Anyway, we got to move on. There's so much other stuff to talk about, and let's
start the show.
We got to be done. We got to be done in an hour. So I'm going to send it to you, Lewis, to talk about Image Playground. This was, I made a list of all my favorite features, and Griffin, and as Lewis panics, this was one of the ones that made my list of things that I came away thinking like, this is actually really cool, and I would probably use this all the time. Take it away, Griffster.
Sure. So in iOS 18, you'll be able to use the power of Apple Intelligence to generate fun, relevant images in your text conversations. That starts with what they're calling Genmoji, added to the list of weird portmanteaus of emoji that they've tried to do over the years. Animoji, Memoji. Maybe this one will land. We'll see. From the keyboard, you can create a new emoji when you can't find the right one built in. So if you're trying to send the ostrich emoji or a trombone emoji, well, you can make your own and send it right along. You describe what you want, and you can pick from a few different choices. I think it's really cool how, at least in the examples they gave, they all clearly look like, Apple designed these emojis. I'm really curious what the training data for this is, because like the Apple emoji art style is a very specific kind of style. So, and obviously, these only work within messages and like supported third-party apps. It's not like you can type a Genmoji into Mail in line with the text, because that's just these are being generated as images. They can't live modify the Unicode spec on the fly like this. But that's kind of nifty. Here's where it gets a little sticky and weird for me personally. I was assigned to write this story, and this is maybe like the one Apple Intelligence feature that makes me feel kind of uncomfortable. You can create Genmoji that resemble the people you're talking to. Here's a quote. Because Apple Intelligence is aware of who's in your photo library, you can simply pick someone and create a Genmoji that looks just like them. Wish someone a happy birthday, and you can generate a cartoon image of them specifically. That makes me weird. You can also create custom artwork of any kind using a tool called Image Playground that makes it really easy. It comes with a big variety of prompts that you can pick from. And because it all happens on device, you can generate as many images as you want, one after another, and you can get the results in just a few seconds. This is available inside Messages, but you can also find it in Keynote, Pages, Freeform, and it'll even have its own standalone app. and there's an image playground API for third-party apps to tie into it too. It's kind of nifty, like, the interface for it. Like in Notes, you can circle a sketch that you've done and have it turn it into a,
Yeah, I thought that was super cool.
AI garbage-looking image. Or you can also circle an empty white space in your note, and it'll look at the context around it and try to come up with a brand new image that fits in. How do you guys feel about it?
Well, I mean, I can't remember the exact things, right? But they said that they could generate images in 3 different styles, right? Animation, I think illustration, and I can't remember what the last one was. Sketch. So this is, to me, it's kind of typical of what they've done, right? They're narrowing the scope of what AI can do, right? Because if you go to like Midjourney or something, giant nightmare, you got to get on Discord, you got to pay money, you got to get credits, you got to use some arcane prompt, which once, right? But you got to use that to do it, and then it like takes forever, and then it sends you a text that, hey, it's done. Did you want it actually high definition? I mean, and that's super powerful, right? 'Cause you say, oh, I want a picture of Griffin that looks like it's painted by Da Vinci or Picasso or a combination, and it'll do it. So Apple says, oh, let's just give them 3. Let's give them 3 ways that we can generate an image. So it cuts back the options, but it puts it right on your device. You don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops. I thought this whole thing was cool. I don't know how. I never really thought about the whole thing about like using it to create emojis with your friends or enemies. That could be a little odd, but I'm sure Apple will put something in place so that people don't end up like weirding everyone out or something. I mean, I wonder where they pull those pictures from. Actually, does it come from your photo library, or does it come from the contact image?
If you go into Photos and you assign names to all of the people in your photo library, like an obsessive weirdo like I do, then it'll use that as training data.
But what about, for instance, I don't have any actual photographs of Irfan in my photo library, but I have a picture of him in the contact card, right? Or
you could just Google it and get some pictures from any of these videos and just take a screenshot and put it on your photo library.
But I just wonder where exactly Apple's pulling that information from, Because
what happens if you only have like 1 or 2 pictures of somebody, or none at all?
Or none, only a contact poster or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems like that would kind of be fair game, because the person made it. But then again, it's. I mean, how do they get around? Oh, you stole my contact poster. I suppose when you create a contact poster, Apple says that it, technically they own it or something. I don't know. I don't have any idea about that. I mean, that's one of the big problems though with all this AI stuff, right? They're training these models and all these things, all these copyrighted images and all these, words that are not their words. So it'll be interesting. Apple did a great job of saying, here are all these amazing, easy to understand features that we're going to roll out later this year.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't give you any time to think about any of these complex problems that exist with this AI generated stuff, right? I mean, it was just all so bubbly and user-friendly.
We don't even know if these are problems. I mean, the definition of a problem is going to vary from person to person. Like all the things that you just highlighted, Griffin, like those things don't bother me at all. I don't care if someone creates a cartoony image of me. I don't think that any of my friends or family would care. Now, maybe friends and family of somebody else, or maybe your friends and family would care, but like these things seem like they're so innocuous. It's like, oh, you made a picture of me wearing sunglasses. I'm so mad. It's like, I don't know. I don't think that I'm sure that the Gen AI model that they're using is probably got some serious limitations included in it. And it's not going to like, hey, I want you to create an image of Judy E. Heath on a pole dancing. It's like, I doubt it's going to deliver that. Although I should try,
that's going to be your very first request, isn't it?
I mean,
if you say, oh, make a whatever you just said, I mean, what's it going to say? Oh no, sorry, I don't have access to that.
It may just do what all the other Gen AI images do now. They just don't make it for you. Like some of them do tell you no, but some of them will make you an image and it's just like nothing that you even asked for. And there's all sorts of problems like that with image generation engines now. And so it could be either or, but
I agree. This is like far down the line, but I mean, like let's say you said, make a Genmoji of Salvador Dali. Where's it going? Is it going to just say no? Sorry, I can't do that, or is it going to say, oh, here's this picture, this copyrighted photograph that somebody took a long time ago that we scraped? I don't know. It's super early days for any of this, right? I mean,
Yeah, and this is like the Wild West.
it's not even in the betas, right? It's
No,
none
no.
of this stuff is in the betas.
And this is
the fact that it's so.
Yeah,
oh, sorry,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
The fact that it's so limited might help them circumvent some of the ethical questions, and that, like, can you ask for art generated in a specific style? Probably not. And so that then, it'd be harder for people on DeviantArt to say, you copied my art style to as training data in your feature. Like, if you can't ask for, like, to imitate specific art styles, then that's sort of a gray area that dodges the question, at least. But for some people, like, another a broader question that I have, and what I think is a more interesting question, is like, what happens if, because like a problem with a lot of LLMs and generative stuff is that, like, whether it has an answer or not, it's going to give you an answer because it doesn't actually know anything. It's just trying to come up with an answer to comply with your question, like the most reasonably sounding response. So what I'm really curious about is, does the new version of Siri, if you ask it, hey, what time does my mom's flight land, when she hasn't taken a flight or a vacation in years, what's it going to respond to? What's it going to say?
Yeah,
that's another question.
That's a super good question. And that's why I say, like, all this stuff looks fantastic in the demos. We'll see how it works. Because right now I can say, hey, play song XYZ by some band that exists, and I can pronounce it perfectly 3 times in a row, and it'll never happen. Sometimes, I mean, certain songs, for whatever reason, it just glitches out and won't work. I mean, that seems like a no-brainer thing that it ought to be able to do right now. And
I mean, here's the thing: Apple hasn't talked about that at all. It doesn't matter how smart Siri is if the speech to text hasn't improved whatsoever between iOS 17 to 18. Is that what? Are you concerned about that at all?
I mean, I think everybody who uses it is concerned about it, because it just keeps getting worse. The smarter they make it, the worse it works. And so now they're talking about, like, well, let's give it, let's make it super smart. Okay, well, what if it's like extra bad? I mean, I don't think they would make it extra bad because it's already bad enough. And they would be, if they release something that works worse than it does now, they're gonna get hammered by everybody.
Stock price is going right back down. Okay, we got to move on. We've got 45 minutes left, and we have a lot to get through. We got to go ahead and keep it moving. But before we do, I just want to give a quick shout out to my own product, which I think is quite high quality. It should be something that you should consider for your own life if you have cameras or lenses, or if you're a glasses wearer, or you have an iPhone or an iPad or a nice television. CultCloth.co for the finest, highest grade cleaning cloths that you're going to find anywhere in the galaxy. Anywhere in the entire galaxy. These are it. These are where you want to go. And I'll keep this short and sweet. If you are ready to keep your devices sparkling clean, I invite you to go to CultCloth.co, pick up some for yourself, and for a limited time, you can get a free extra carry cloth with code CultCast at checkout at CultCloth.co. Lewis, you're going to have to motor mouth your way through all these features. We can't spend the next 30 minutes on this. I'm going to give you...
I got a real quick question.
Yeah.
Does CultCloth, is it now have AI power?
It's always been powered by AI. In fact,
Excellent.
we had AI agents help design it. So I didn't want to talk about that. That's patented. But you can read about it in the patent.
Okay.
So yeah, we've been far ahead of the curve.
Excellent.
Yeah, I didn't want to brag, but yeah, it definitely is. All right, Lewis, let's talk about all the features coming to iOS 18 and how AI is going to make our lives so much better than they currently are.
I'll just let the silver-tongued and silver-haired Craig Federighi explain it in one short sentence. iOS 18 is a big release that delivers more ways to customize your iPhone, stay connected, and relive special moments. That's what these 3 things. It does 3 things. It's the Apple way. Here are 3 things that this does.
All right. Well, let's move on.
We're done. Okay. Let's see. For some specifics, let's see. Photos app. He said it is the biggest Photos redesign ever. AI photo editing tools allow for customization and organization. Like putting together folders or whatever, or bringing together images from things. I mean, there's always some of this stuff in this already, right? But somehow left out of our write-up here in the notes is the fact that it's going to allow you to clean up images like zap. I love the picture they had, the example picture they had of people on the beach with like some joker in the background with a metal detector. It's just like boom, tap it, gone, disappeared. That's all great stuff. All kinds of things, all kinds of apps already do that, but it'll be nice to have that built into the Photos app. Let's see, Messages app, text effects, which let you I don't know. It's kind of like the tap back effects that already exist for certain things, but the words can jiggle. There's going to be a certain preset kind of things so you can make your text messages extra eye catching. The tap back feature that I just mentioned, that thing, that's the thing that lets you put like a gray heart or a thumbs up or whatever on a reply, right?
Dude,
to a thing.
they needed to overhaul the system for adding emojis to messages forever. Like that. I don't know how they arrived at the decision to give you like 5 options for your message replies.
And gray.
And gray. One of the worst implementations of emoji reactions I've seen anywhere in the tech world, and so they finally fixed it.
I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, "What? Why is that gray?" It's just weird, right? I mean, anyway, so now they're going full color in iOS 18, and you can reply with any emoji. It's just gonna be way different, way better. Let's see. You're going to be able to schedule messages to be sent later. That's going to be awesome.
Pretty useful. If you don't want to bug someone at 12 a.m.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's actually super. Now that this is like the way that everybody communicates every single thing in the world now, it's taken over email. This is the way. It's very useful. You can say, hey, because I find myself doing that all the time. Like I got to send this text to this person, but oh my God, it's midnight. Anyway, so that'll be nice. Let's see. The last thing, and this was, for some reason, Leander wrote the post about this. He put this in the headline like it was the most exciting thing. It is interesting. Satellite messaging is going to be available in iOS 18, which works the same way as like the emergency SOS via satellite thing does. So if you're somewhere where you got no cell service, you can still send and receive text, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, it's cool.
Let's see. Oh, my God. We have only just started.
You're doing great.
Okay.
Keep going.
Home screen customization somewhat as described. You're going to be able to change up your home screen a lot. You're going to be able to move the icons around. The grid is gone. You can put them wherever you want. They did a nice way of showing like, oh, you can use this with a photo so that the stupid app icons don't, cover up the fun parts of the photo. There's also a way to recolor icons. You can go with light icons or dark icons, color tinted icons. This was kind of different from the rumors. The rumors I heard was like, oh, it's going to be like you can tint all your bank apps green, or you can take all your social media apps that make you angry and make them red, right? But no, it's just like one color, right? System wide, as far as I could tell from the demo.
I think it's cool, but it does kind of create some funky looks to the icons. I think. I don't think they look better when you color them.
I saw quite a few negative remarks about that on X.
The all new.
It's worth pointing out that third-party apps only have limited support for that. App developers will need to upload a new version of their app icon to make it work with iOS 18 and make it look really good. So right now, it's only Apple apps that do it really well at this point.
Okay, let's see. Control Center, everybody's favorite underutilized way of getting into all the things that are most important.
Speak for yourself. It's appropriately utilized in my world. I use it all the time.
I love it. I know tons of people are like, what's that?
Yeah.
They never use it. I mean, it's shocking. But anyway, it's going to be fully customizable, which is also very exciting, right? You can add and remove toggle switches from a new controls gallery, organize buttons across multiple different pages of a control center, with the easy swipe that looked very slick. Let's see. Control API is going to let third-party developers add their oon buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Totally awesome. Because I use it all the time too, man. I use Control Center all the time. I didn't quite understand this last part. You use the same controls to replace flashlight and camera shortcuts on the lock screen. It wasn't clear to me what you could put there. But any
of the same controls that you can add to Control Center, you can also use any of them. You can swap out the flashlight or the camera.
And same thing with the action button.
I just tested this today. Different lock screens can have different buttons on the bottom. And even if you replace the camera button for a different one, like, I don't know, stopwatch, you can still swipe on the lock screen to get to the camera, even if the camera button isn't there.
That's cool. I mean, it's always been weird to me that they've got these two buttons that have like prime time placement on the iPhone, and they're just there, right? What is it? So anyway, let's see. Moving on, Safari. Safari is going to I don't know what version this is. I can never keep track of that. Do they even give it a version number?
I don't care about such things.
Yeah, all right. So it's going to be able to use machine learning to automatically detect relevant information on a web page and highlight it for you, like directions, summaries, quick links to learn more about people, music, movies, and TV shows. Sounds a lot like the way Google already surfaces stuff like that, right, in their quick search results. Reader mode is going to provide a table of contents and helpful summary right next to the article. You might never have to read a full article again. That's great news for web publishers. Let's see. When Safari detects a video on the page, viewer mode puts it front and center while allowing full access to system playback controls like AirPlay and picture-in-picture. I must have crossed my eyes during this part of the presentation. I don't even remember seeing this, but man, I mean, sometimes I go to a web page and I want to watch a video on it. I can't even find the video.
Yeah,
this happens on our website too.
But it's playing
like
somewhere.
So many ads and so much garbage. Anyway, okay. I don't
doing great,
understand why
Lewis.
AirPods Pro is listed here under iOS, but I'll go ahead and talk it anyway. Because I thought this was a totally cool part of this presentation. It just took like a minute or whatever. But so AirPods Pro are going to gain the ability to answer calls or reject them by silently nodding or shaking your head. That's
Love
awesome.
it, dude. Yeah.
I also love the fact that in the thing in the little stupid demo or whatever it says STFU, like STFU.
Yeah, that was my edit of it. That wasn't in the keynote.
Oh, it wasn't in it.
No.
Oh,
You think TC without that slide?
You tampered with the video. Oh my God! I take it all back. Griffin dropped an STFU in there. Let's see. That's going to come in handy, if you're on and I've totally understood it. You're on the picture they had was perfect. You're standing on an elevator and somebody calls you, and like you don't want to say, "Oh, sorry, Jim, I can't." I mean, what I would do is just silence the call with my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's kind of cool. Let's see. The final thing here in this iOS section is the Passwords app, which this news broke before the event, but it looks very awesome. Dedicated passwords app. It's going to work on iOS, iPadOS, and macOS. Basically repackages the iCloud keychain features into a user-friendly interface. Sorry, Dashlane. Sorry, LastPass. I mean, I use Dashlane every day. I use Password Manager for everything. It's life-changing. I still run into people who don't use password managers, and I can't believe it. I hope this encourages everybody to, because it'll be right there in your thing. It sounds like it's going to be free. I didn't hear anything about any pricing, any other stuff costing extra. It just sounds like it's all going to be free, and your iPhone's going to be better than ever. And that's honestly, them making a password manager is that's probably a good thing for humanity.
It's also coming to Windows, Lewis. The app is coming to Windows. Man, I'm excited about that. This is, because you need to manage your Apple passwords on Windows too. Now, they have built some extensions that help you do this on Windows, which are good, and they're slowly making updates to it, but I think this app is long overdue. People have been using Keychain for a long time to figure out what their passwords are. And there is a passwords app or a section within the settings app that you can go to, which I use all the time. But I don't know if people actually know that it's there and actually use it.
No,
so
it's well hidden.
Yeah, it's definitely
hidden.
less known. So having an app that you can use to manage all your passwords is definitely going to be useful. Is that it? Is that all of them?
Yeah, that is all.
Okay. Going to me now to talk about iPad stuff. Most, I think, if not
this
everything.
Shouldn't take more than 30 seconds.
You missed one big thing, Lewis. You missed one big thing.
I did? What?
Well, maybe two big things. The first big thing, how about a big calculator, Lewis? A big old calculator coming to the iPad. I already use CalcBot, so whatever. I don't think I really need a calculator, but I know a lot of people don't want to pay for it, so whatever. Now you have a calculator app coming to the iPad with a bunch of new math features, which looked pretty cool. It has a math notes feature that takes advantage of Apple Pencil, allowing users to type or write out mathematical expressions and see them instantly solved in their own handwriting. Man, that was some. We're not even. We can't even script. They had almost 2 hours of succinct video editing to get all these features out there. There's no way we could possibly even cover all these. But like the handwriting features that they showed, where you could like scribble out notes and have them be deleted,
Oh yeah,
or
that looked awesome.
do math problems
Finally
and have
caught
them
up
be
to the
solved.
Newton in 1994 on that
Oh
regard.
jeez.
Yeah, it's like the Newton but better. But there's just all sorts of cool stuff that they built in that I think are going to make using an Apple Pencil on the iPad way more compelling. Like if you were in school and you were like taking notes, you could solve math problems within your notes. That seems like it'd be kind of useful. You're also getting the Calc app, as I mentioned. But one of the big things that no one is talking about, that I was stunned that no one's even mentioning, are the new AirPlay features that allow you to take control of another person's device and finally fix things remotely. That has been so sorely needed for so many years. I mean, so there's two features that they highlighted. Like you could draw on their screen, which that alone is hugely helpful, and just be like, hey, click on that.
It's
but then,
this one here.
to take it to the next level and have you just be able to request control of another person's iPad or iPhone and just do the changes for them, I'm actually not sure if this is a good or a bad thing, because now my parents can call me and say, fix my iPad. Right now, they just don't bother because, like, he's not coming over to fix my iPad today. But now they will learn that they can do it remotely. So an immensely useful, helpful feature for the IT people, those of us out there that are our family's IT people, like being able to do this. Now, I didn't see that this feature was added to macOS Sequoia. I'm presuming that it is.
It's already in there.
Is it? You can take control of another person's Mac?
Years. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I never get asked to fix anyone else's Mac. So it's only iPads because all my family has iPads. So being able to do that is going to be immensely helpful. I think that's it. Yeah.
Is it just iPad or is it also iPhone?
It's iOS and iPadOS. Yeah, it's
Okay.
both.
They had to put something in the iPad section, you know.
Yeah, if you go to the Apple website showing the features for like macOS, iPadOS, iOS, all the pages look exactly the same. They're all getting the same features, which I believe is a point for me. So, actually, I can't remember how I voted, so I don't know. I can't read Griffin's face either. He's either laughing at me or he's like, "Yep, you nailed it, bro. You nailed it." I can't tell. What a poker face he has. You can't tell. You can't read him. All right, send it over to you, Lewis, to do the Mac, and then we'll wrap up with Vision Pro and then our predictions.
Yeah, so macOS Clear Lake is, I'm sorry, macOS
Mendocino, you mean?
macOS Sequoia. It's gonna, they were pretty light on details about things that are coming in this too. But the big thing they kick off was iPhone mirroring, which is quite strange. iPhone mirroring enables you to wirelessly mirror your iPhone's display on your Mac with just a tap. You can control your iPhone directly from your Mac and use all installed iPhone apps. Even better, macOS Sequoia can mirror your iPhone's notifications so you can take action on them directly. This is I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this one, actually. I don't know that I necessarily needed to control my iPhone from my Mac. I was trying to envision what problem this solves, because it's not like it's hard to just pull up your iPhone. And like the
demo. I'll give you an example right now. Right now, I'm using my iPhone and continuity camera so that I have a high quality camera while we're doing this video call, but I can't use my phone because it's now it's my camera. Okay. So if I have a notification come in, I can open the app from my Mac. That's
great. There's one. Another one, as pointed out in the thing, is if you're using your iPhone in standby mode, you don't have to. It's like, wow. I mean, a lot of people like so enamored with standby mode that they just couldn't bear to like bust out of standby mode. I'm sure there are reasons why this is amazing. It looked cool, but I'm having a hard time imagining.
I felt exactly like you did. I was like, boy, talk about left field, man. I did not see this feature coming, and I don't know I don't know what motivated them to expend the engineering resources to make this work, because it doesn't seem like it would benefit a lot of people. And I couldn't really think of a lot of examples where I'm like, oh man, I really wish I could access my phone from my computer. It's usually the other way around, actually. I want to access my computer from my phone because my phone is always with me. But there is one use case that I thought that they showed that looked interesting, is there's a lot of people who create content on their phones, and this would make it easy for them to create content on their Mac and then use their phone to like upload the content or manage their social media or whatever. So for production, it actually could be really useful. But
There's another example. Like if you have a phone with a broken screen, you can, your screen breaks. You can finally like copy
now
your
that
data
is
off of it
interesting.
from the Mac.
Yeah, it's like it gives life to your device that
We're getting-
it didn't have before.
So that's 4. I'm sure plenty of smart people will come up with ways to use this that I can't even envision. But
I don't know, chat. Let us know. Are we missing
it
something with
just seems like
iPhone
a-
mirroring? I thought that was a
it
wacky
seems like
one.
an odd thing to like promote as like the key highlight of macOS Sequoia.
And
This
yet,
is a-
I
this is
thought
a
it was
great way
very
to
cool.
flex.
Yeah.
Sorry. This
No,
is
go
like a
ahead.
great way for them to flex on how, like it's another advantage of Apple Silicon because like they develop technology on one platform and they can bring it as a different feature to other platforms. Like I think it was like 1 or 2 years ago they implemented like they spent a lot of engineering resources making sure that when you screen share Mac to Mac, that it's much higher quality, lower latency, and they've been able to turn that that feature set into screen sharing between a Mac and a Vision Pro, and now screen sharing between an iPhone and a Mac.
I thought of number 5. How many times have you taken a picture on your phone and you go on the Mac and you want to put that picture in there? You go to your photos library, it's not there. And you say, update. It says last updated 1 minute ago. You took this picture yesterday, still not there. So there's a 5th thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there'll be, again, and you know what else? You asked why they put all this engineering resource. I'll bet you anything that this is just the first feature that they roll out related to whatever they did that came up with that feature.
Yeah, there's probably a whole roadmap there. Okay, let's keep it moving. I think that.
Oh no, there's one more thing.
Yeah.
As Griffin points out, they've changed the way that window management can work on the Mac. You can drag apps to the corner of the display, and macOS Sequoia will suggest a tiled position, so you can like turn your Mac into a beautiful bento box of windows, right? Which actually sounds pretty good. You can also use keyboard shortcuts to arrange apps from the keyboard. I didn't actually see exactly how that worked either. I mean, there was a lot going on during that big thing. So let's see. There's some new wallpapers which have a bunch of images inspired by classic Mac OS operating system. So I just said Mac OS operating system. My God. Oh my God.
We'll allow
That's
it.
Okay.
Good job, Lewis.
I'm gonna go type in my PIN number.
We gave you
into
all
the ATM machine.
Yes.
We gave you all the stories that required you to motor mouth. You did a good
I
job.
am
You got through this
tired
pretty
now.
quick. Yeah. All right, we got to talk about Vision Pro briefly. Griffin, as much as you want to mention about it, since you're the one with the Vision Pro, and then we'll move on to our predictions or the
Sure,
conclusions.
these are just the top features. There's a new feature called spatial photos that are a new way to enjoy pictures in full 3D. They use machine learning to convert two-dimensional photos into a spatial photo. And they announced this part before they name-dropped Apple Intelligence, so they said machine learning, not Apple Intelligence. New hand gestures let you open the home view and control center with just your hands, so you don't have to reach up and click the digital crown, which is, I actually found kind of annoying after a lot of time. You can just like hold your hand up, and then this little bubble appears. Then you either tap your fingers to open the home view, or you spin your hand down to open Control Center. I think that's kind of neat. And Mac Virtual Display, which lets you use a virtual monitor with your Mac, is bigger and better. You can make the screen ultra wide, or the equivalent of 2 4K monitors side by
Wow,
side.
it looks cool.
That even made me say, "Wow, that looks cool."
Apparently, in order to the reason they weren't able to do this before, and the reason why you can only do one display at a time in the past, is because it just takes a lot of bandwidth in communication between the Mac and the Vision Pro. But now they're foveated rendering the screen to compress it over the air between the two devices, and that's why they're able to get more screen real estate out of it.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. What
That's
else?
coming later this year at an indeterminate point. And there are a few more features that you can read on apple.com, but that's all I want to highlight here.
All right. Any that you're excited about here?
It's honestly I was hoping they would do a little bit more with visionOS, but honestly, the gesture is probably going to be enough to carry me through the year.
That one gesture.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's so much easier.
You pick the blueberry,
you're-
the invisible blueberry, and then you
you're looking
drop it in
around
the
and-
bucket.
And picking your hands are in your lap, and you have to reach up and tap it when you just want to. it's such like going home is such an easy gesture to do on the iPhone. You're already holding it in your hand. You just swipe up with your thumb. But like on the Vision Pro, you have to. It's like a whole arm movement. It adds up over time.
Can't have these arm movements.
No.
Gotta go full sedentary.
Before we move on to our predictions, I at least wanted to rattle off my list of the things that stuck with me. These are some of the features that we've already talked about, but maybe there's a couple in here that we didn't really talk very much about. So these are the things I was like, wow, that would seem like something I would use. I actually did include iPhone mirroring in there. I thought that was a wacky one, but I was like, I feel like I might find that useful in some way. The fixed Siri, obviously, at the very top of my list. Image Playground, I think I'm going to use that actually quite a lot. Genmoji, I think, might be my most used feature. Like being able to do a custom emoji for any situation is super useful. With the one thing we haven't talked about is in the Photos app, you can do in photo and video search thanks to Apple Intelligence. You could search for things like inside of your video or inside of your photos. Show me pictures of me on a bed covered with rose petals from 1999. Finally, I'll be able to find that picture that I took. That was one of my favorite pictures, but it's gone now. Siri product knowledge, being able to query using Spotlight, asking how to do things and have it provide you step-by-step instructions. This is kind of like a classic LLM feature that they've added in there. Will be helpful for all the noobs and plebs. Clearly not something that users of our caliber would need, but I'm happy for all the other people. Message tap back, obviously, with the emojis, responding with emojis. I use a feature that almost no one knows about. If you hold the message and then click add a sticker, you can reply with an emoji. But most people, it's like a magic trick. They don't know how you do it. They don't know how you get an emoji attached to a message. So I feel, lofty and skillful whenever I do that in a message. I pride myself on my ability to answer a message in a creative way. It's something that I do. It's not no big whoop, as they say. Sending messages later, also super useful because sometimes you want to respond to someone when you finally get back to their text message. Pardon my Siri
or
interruption
sometimes
there.
Your coworkers live in an inferior time zone 3 hours in the past, and when you want to send a text in the first thing in the morning, it's like, well, it's only 3:30 a.m. for them. I can't do that. That would be rude.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to send a text to your coworker, but like a grandma who goes to bed at 6 p.m., they're probably already in bed. So then you're like, should I send this text message because they might be sleeping already, even though they should clearly be awake? But you want to be sensitive to their elderly needs, you know what I'm saying? And then there's the Passwords app. Obviously, we already discussed that one. That was a big one in my book. Hey, here's one that we haven't discussed. This is like one of the low lights. Is you'll be able to unlock doors automatically as you approach them for those that support this feature. So if you have a lock that supports HomeKit, as you approach, it will just unlock for you.
I'm sorry, did they say that?
That's one of the features.
They're finally allowing that to happen.
Yeah, they
like every other.
They highlighted that in
the one other
in the keynote. Like when they show like a big old montage of all the things you'll be able to do with the icons. I think that was one of them. And then another one that I thought was pretty cool, the new Apple Watch widgets. They're going to finally be allowing new widgets to show you new insights on your Apple Watch. And I was like, oh yeah, that's actually pretty cool. We haven't even touched on Apple Watch. Out of all the updates that they announced, the ones for the Apple Watch were kind of the least interesting to me. I'm not trying to track
Vital
my
Zap
cycle.
sounded kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, that
Zap.
one, yeah, I guess if you're into like tracking every minute detail of your health and bodily functions, then maybe that's something that would be useful to you. Yep.
I mean, it's the same old thing of like persistent monitoring of your health, right? And saying, hey, you may not have noticed this, but your heart rate's been up for, the last 4 minutes, or not 4 minutes, 4 days. I don't know. And I know heart rate is maybe not a good one because I think you already get those with the heart. But I mean, all these different things that they can just crunch the data and say, hey, you're trending in this way. Perhaps you might want to, change your lifestyle or visit your doctor.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
So there you go. That was my list. We made it through all of it. We got 20 minutes left. I can hardly believe it. And I'm just antsy.
So I guess I have one question for the two of you. Which betas have you installed, or which do you plan on installing?
0. I have installed 0 betas. I have to use the phone in my day-to-day life. I can't do that to myself again. I don't have a burner phone to run it on. I can't risk it with a Mac because I got to do things like this podcast. And my iPad is not worthy. My
You're not
iPad is
worthy.
finally iPad has finally timed out.
Really?
It is not going to get the updates.
The great blue screen in the sky, huh?
It's very disappointing.
Wow.
Not that old.
Yeah.
I might have to go. I might have to go get a new one. I mean, honestly, like some of that stuff with the handwriting made it actually look like I've never really owned an Apple Pencil, and when I have borrowed my wife's, it's like, oh, what is this chicken scratch? Completely useless to me. But I don't know, man. It seems like with the advances in the pencil and with this, I can't remember what the new feature is called with the what's it called, like jot text or text type or type scribble. I can't remember what they called it, but it had some kind of word. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to derail.
That's fine. I was just going to say I'll probably run iOS and iPadOS. Those are my two go-to because my iPad and my iPhone are not mission critical. And
my God, you can do it with your phone?
I'll definitely do it with my iPad. I will probably do it with my phone, but I may wait until the second. Do they have a public beta out, by the way? Is it already out?
It'll be out in July. They wait until a few revisions and they all, so that they iron out some of the bugs. It's a pretty, so I'll say I'm on the iOS beta purely because I have to cover this stuff to make the videos and all that. I wish I wasn't. It's honestly my least favorite part about my job. But, if that's my least favorite part about my job, I have a pretty good job. But so I just have to deal with a barely functioning phone for 3 months.
It can be kind of annoying. I mean, stuff definitely breaks. And then that's why I don't do it on my Apple Watch because then like the heart monitor all of a sudden stops working for a month. It's like, dude, this is too annoying. I can't deal with this.
The worst part about the Apple Watch one is that installing Apple Watch software updates is incredibly annoying. Like you have to do it overnight. It has to be plugged in. It has to be over a particular charge level. It's like the moon has to be in the right phase. Like, and you have to do that every 2 weeks when there's a new beta. Like that's a pain in the ass. And like, there's not enough in watchOS this year to make me convinced to do that. But yeah. So I'm on iOS. I'm on Vision. I installed visionOS. I haven't played around with it yet. I'm gonna at least wait for the public beta to do the macOS one. But another point is that I probably have to try the macOS beta because my Mac is the only product I have that can run Apple Intelligence. My phone is too old because I didn't buy a phone last year. So
it's too late now too. It's like, well,
Can you imagine if you bought an iPhone 15 and you're left out in the cold?
Yeah, like Ed Hardy bought an iPhone 15 Plus. He can't use any of these.
God, man. I mean, brilliant motivator for buying upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes you wonder too how many of them are limited because of marketing reasons and how many are limited because of technical reasons. Yeah.
It really is technical reasons. Like
reasons.
Only the A17 Pro chip is capable of it. Like it because it's just so demanding.
All right, well, let's wrap this up and move on to our prediction conclusions. I gotta know. I just gotta know. I was going through that keynote and I was like, like we definitely had a question for this, and I can't remember how I answered or how Lewis
gut punch after gut punch.
I just don't know. So I'm gonna send it over to Griffin. Should I share? Are you gonna share? It's on your website, right, Griffin?
Yeah, it's on the website. I actually just noticed a problem with the dark mode of my website. It's just text color. I pushed that fix while we were vamping and talking about the betas, but I will go through the results here.
Okay. We're gonna do it one by one.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. iOS gets free placement of home screen icons. iPadOS doesn't. That is a point for Lewis and I because we both correctly guessed that it would be coming to both of the devices at the same time, breaking the trend. Irfan is at
I'm going to have to go back and review the record on that. I thought I voted yes, but okay.
You did not. New APIs for colorful system-wide themes. Surprisingly, the new icons have no API with them at all. It's just like a thing that you upload in Xcode. Honestly, I thought that's what they were going to do, so I don't know why I voted yes, because I didn't think that was going to happen. But here we are.
The heat of the competition. Mistakes were made.
We're all wrong there. iPadOS gets standby. Lewis was the only one to be accurately pessimistic on that. New iPadOS power features exclusive to M series iPads.
Holy cow.
Nothing. We get nothing.
Lewis is going to win with 2 points.
Vision Pro unlocks and integrates with iPhone. No, we get nothing.
Well, Lewis does. He got a point for that.
He gets a point for that. I mean us as users, features, us.
Okay.
us Vision Pro users, we got like, a new hand gesture. Go have fun.
Unbelievable that they didn't add that. Although, you know what? Maybe they did add it, but they didn't talk about it. I wonder if that's a possibility.
I went through the detailed developer
Okay. All right.
show, like, what do you call it? Release notes in the developer app to confirm some of these.
You did your due diligence. Nothing. Okay. All right.
tvOS gets more than 20 seconds of attention. Somehow they came up with a feature and they talked about it.
Dude,
and they made time for
I
it.
I am 0 for 6 and Lewis is 4 for 6. This is going to be a sweep.
How good are you feeling right now?
There's still time. Still time to make my comeback, baby.
Yeah. So after the software section, Lewis has 4 points. I have 1 point. Erfan has 0 points.
This is unbelievable.
Going on to AI features. I'll say in advance, we did a little better with this section.
Okay.
Notification and conversation summaries. We all get a point there. That was a pretty obvious AI feature. Yeah.
I just love that Griffin owns a triangle.
I could find it.
Stole a triangle from my brother.
Oh my God, he stole it.
New conversational voice assistant is no longer called Siri. This was some speculation in advance, as we spoke about. This didn't happen. We all get a point there.
I'm feeling very zen.
Object recognition and lookup from the camera.
Woohoo!
This wasn't rumored. I don't know why I voted for it, but Erfan gets a point.
Papa E's pulling ahead.
Object removal in photos. Erfan and Lewis get a point here. I voted against it because I thought, maybe Apple would go along with their philosophy that like a photo is a photo and it is a real depiction of the world. But no, you can just edit your photos, cut out your X from a picture that you have, world's your oyster. At least you can't generate brand new images that don't exist. And that's a clear line they drew. But anyways, that's a point for the two co-hosts there. Image and video upscaling, that didn't happen. That's a point for us all. Code completion in Xcode, another great new feature. We didn't have time to talk about that, but like Swift Assist, I'm really excited to, dig into that and see if it can help me actually get my 2 apps into a shipping state. Point for us all.
Son of a gun. Lewis is going to win.
Some features are limited to the iPhone 15 line. Another point for Lewis there. Because
how
again,
could we have said no to that? Oh, wait. Some features are to the iPhone 15, like the non-Pro.
Well, some features are limited to the newer iPhones, and that is the spirit of the question.
Yeah, I don't remember how we framed this question because this one seems obvious.
What I thought was going to happen is that there were the rumors that there was going to be like the on-device stuff, and Apple was going to be, investing into all of this cloud infrastructure. And so I thought that if you have a lesser iPhone, like an iPhone 14 or 13, that it would be entirely cloud-based and none of it would run on device. But no, if you don't have the very latest hardware, you can't use it at all. And so
God, it seems so obvious in retrospect.
Yeah.
All right.
Most features available only with a subscription. We all voted no. Surprisingly, no features are locked behind a subscription or paywall of any kind. As far as we can tell, they're all available for free. So y'all get a point.
I was amazed by that.
Yeah. Several headline features are coming later. When I wrote this pick, I thought I should rewrite it to be like several headline features are coming next year. But because I bet a lot of these features aren't coming here until like 2025 with like iOS 18.4 or something like that. But as written, we all voted for coming later, and so we all get a point there.
Okay. We're running out of
Next
space
category.
here.
Yeah.
Miscellaneous.
Vision Pro is coming to more countries. We all knew that was happening. We all get a point. Any other hardware products are announced? Nope, none whatsoever. Apple announces partnership with OpenAI. This is the one thing that I get on.
I can't believe I said no to this. This was a tough one, right? We did talk about this one because they're going to be working with them, but you don't know if they want to give them credit.
Yeah, like they name dropped OpenAI once.
Yep.
And it was basically just to explain ChatGPT by OpenAI, and they brushed it under the rug.
So
and I was actually very surprised that in follow-up interviews, they explicitly state that they're going to tie in other partners in the future.
Wait a second. So shouldn't Lewis and I have gotten this correct? Because we said yes, and you said no. but you gave yourself a point and you gave us no points. But they did announce a
Yes,
partnership.
because they didn't announce a partnership. They announced like an OpenAI feature is integrated with it.
Well, that's a partnership. That's what a partnership is.
Okay,
yeah.
well, what I meant when I wrote that is that like they would actually have like OpenAI's like name on the screen and say we've partnered with OpenAI, or like, you know, we've integrated like deeply with OpenAI to bring this new feature. And that's not really what they did. They brushed it under the rug, and they've explicitly, and they even undercut it by saying that they plan on tying in with different providers.
Yeah,
as well.
but they announced that they're partnering
outside.
with ChatGPT, which is OpenAI's product. I mean, they effectively did announce a partnership with OpenAI.
Well, the rumors very strongly indicated that there would be ChatGPT features, but they didn't. But like, you know, I was saying they're going to try and mention OpenAI as little as possible.
Yeah. Well, they did mention them as little as possible. Okay, well we can move on. I'll reserve this one. If Griffin,
I can take the hit, I think, at this point, but I disagree.
If Griffin and I
with
end
the
up
ruling.
tied, we're coming back to this. Okay.
I will say it doesn't affect the scores.
Okay. Well, it doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like it will. Okay, let's keep it moving.
AI is said more than 40 times. No, it said it as little as possible, and by the time they even mentioned it, they came up with their own term for it. That's a point for Erfan. The keynote runs over 1 hour and 48 minutes. It was at like an hour and 45. So Erfan and I get a point there. And
Lewis is trailing.
Then we get
C'est
to
la
the
vie,
name.
Lewis.
macOS 15 is named Sequoia. We came up with a variety of guesses that I think we came up with some pretty good names.
They're pretty good. I do agree.
Maybe they'll use them next year. I'll probably reuse them.
Is Sequoia even a place? Is there a place in California called Sequoia, California?
You know, it's like Sequoia National Park. I think
Yeah,
is what it is.
dude, it's like, is that even a place?
Is there a Sequoia County or?
No, it's Sequoia National Park is all.
Oh.
That's the thing.
See,
it's like,
that's they
I don't think it's
violated
a
their own
county.
naming
I don't-
convention.
yeah. Well, I mean, Big Sur is a place.
Okay.
It's a, you know, I don't know. They're not. It's like they always went by counties, right? I mean,
I don't know what they're doing over there. Who knows?
what was the other one? Like Half Dome or something? I can't remember what it was called.
I'm mildly nauseous scrolling down to the winner is section. I don't even need to look at this. Let's just, you know what? Let's just go ahead and.
The winner is Lewis with 14 points, trailed admittedly pretty closely by Erfan with 12 and me at 11.
I'm actually surprised that it's that close, because I thought Lewis was just sweeping it.
With 17 points each, listeners Ryan Peterson and Al won the audience score.
Unbelievable.
I hate losing to the audience, but it
Me
happens
too.
every time.
But why does it keep happening, Lewis?
And I should explicitly mention that we're going to do an off-topic at some point where I dive deep into more statistics and interesting notes from the audience submissions. We got a lot of audience submissions, so I'm probably going to keep doing the Google form. It's a lot easier to submit. A lot of people actually guessed Sequoia.
Really? You're kidding.
Yeah.
That is
so both of those winners got the name correct. And, you know, if you take Lewis's score of 14, add 3 points to that, if Lewis had correctly gotten Sequoia, then he would have matched the audience scores.
Why? Because that wildcard question is worth more?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't think you told us that.
I did. It's at the top of the page. The correct name is worth 3 points.
I didn't read this page. 3 points will be awarded for a correct wildcard guess. He's got me dead to rights, Lewis, unless he just added that before we start broadcasting. Okay. Good job, Lewis.
Oh,
I'll
thanks.
give you your due. Congratulations, you son of a... Why does this keep happening? I don't know. Lewis doesn't even read Cultamac. How does this keep happening?
It's clearly because you know, you laid out all your. Oh no, wait, we took care of that crutch excuse you had.
Yeah.
This is all real time.
Let's not pretend like you weren't
verifiable.
wearing like some kind of earpiece, like you were on a debate stage waiting for the answers to come in. Get a whole team of people feeding you this stuff. I mean, come on. Like I know you got an angle. I'm not sure what your angle is, Lewis, but I'm gonna figure it out. You could be sure of that.
Oh, I think I figured it out.
90 degrees.
I think he was listening to your microphone and he could hear if you were typing 3 letters or 2 letters.
Yeah,
so
that's
he
a
could
good
type
point.
whether you're typing yes
Next
or no.
time I'm gonna mute my mic while I type my answers, Lewis.
Good thinking.
That's
or type
exactly
no
it.
period.
Yeah,
Obviously, I wanted to, you know, follow your answers.
I know. Well, I know that's what you wanted to do, but couldn't do it. I mean, maybe that's why he ended up ahead. It's like he couldn't quite figure it out, so he was just guessing, and you just landed on the right answers. I think that might be what happened. Anyway, that's it. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? The fun continues in the very exclusive Cult Club, where your fez and robe await you, and your own locker. And let's not forget the commercial-grade Stella Artois walk-in refrigerator cooler. Many of the amenities on the premises. And we keep Alexi Heath off the property. We've trained the dogs to notice his scent, so he'll never be there. It's a wonderful place to be, and you can join it with us if you just go to support.thecultcast.com, support.thecultcast.com. Quit being a cheapskate. Fork it over, people. Fork over the it's just $5, Lewis. That's it. $5 a month to come hang out with me and Griffin, and maybe Lewis occasionally. If we ever let him on the premises, we could talk about that. That's it. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live, especially on a Wednesday, and for all the great participation with your answers to the, what do we call this, a poll? Bingo card? I don't even know what to call this. Predictions?
It's the predictions game.
Predictions game. And if you're in the Cult Club, make sure you hop in there. Give us your suggestions for a new Ask Us Anything for Off Topic. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. We will see you guys next time. Lewis, I am happy for you, but I do want to figure out your angle. You're clearly cheating in some capacity. I don't know how you're doing it, but that's something that we need to figure out.
I just want to know what I won.
Well, absolutely nothing.
Right.
Lunch is on Lewis. It's like when you win a game, you have to clean up. That's how this works. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye, y'all.